We're going to talk about something that most writers absolutely dread, revision. But what if we could flip the script on it? What if we could turn that painful chore into maybe the most powerful tool for discovery you have? Let's get into it. All right, let me ask you something. Just think for a second about the whole process of writing, from that first little spark of an idea all the way to the very end. What's the one part that makes you just, groan? For a whole lot of us, the answer is painfully obvious. If that's what popped into your head, yeah, you're not alone. Not by a long shot. Revision often feels like this soul-crushing cleanup job you have to do after all the fun, creative work is over. But what if that whole way of thinking is just wrong? See, here's the thing. The problem isn't revision itself. Nope. The problem is the myth we've all been sold, this flawed, super rigid idea of how writing is supposed to work. You've seen this a million times, right? Step 1, you brainstorm. Step 2, you write the thing. And step 3, you go back and rewrite or revise to fix all your mistakes. And yeah, it looks so neat and tidy on paper. But according to the researcher Nancy Summers, this straight-line model is exactly why so many of us find revisions so miserable. So to really see why this old model just falls apart, let's meet two writers from one of Summers' classic studies. On one hand, we have Rita, a student writer. And on the other, we have Walter, a seasoned, skilled writer. And right here, this is the absolute core of it. You've got Rita, who's totally focused on following the rules, on fixing little things at the sentence level. And then you have Walter. He's on a completely different mission. He's hunting for meaning, and he is not afraid to tear the whole thing down to find it. So let's zoom in on Rita. She's doing everything she was taught to do. She's sticking to that classic 5-paragraph formula. She's polishing her intro over and over again, thinking it has to be perfect. When she revises, she's not rethinking her ideas. She's just adding more stuff. She's following all these little rules, like never repeat a word, but she never stops to ask why that rule even exists. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. This is Rita's trap. She's so obsessed with making the writing look right that she totally misses the chance to make the writing actually do something powerful. It's all about the form, not the function. All package, no real substance. Okay, now flip the coin and look at Walter. His process, it's like night and day. He just starts writing, and it's in the act of writing that he discovers his main point. And then, and this is key, he goes back and reshapes the entire piece, the structure, the opening, you name it, to serve that new message he just found. For him, revision isn't cleanup, it's discovery, it's construction. So let's get down to it. The gap between a writer like Rita and a writer like Walter, it's not really about talent or intelligence. It's about a totally different mindset, a completely different approach to what revision is even for. It all comes down to this one simple but honestly game-changing idea. Revision is a chore when it's about checking off boxes and following some abstract rulebook. But it becomes a superpower when it's driven by your own search for purpose, your desire to make your meaning crystal clear. So if that old linear step-by-step model is broken, what's the alternative? Well, Nancy Summers gives us a much more dynamic and, frankly, a much more realistic way to think about it. It's called the recursive model. Now, don't let the word recursive throw you off. All it means is that it loops back on itself. Writing isn't a straight road. It's more like a messy, looping, tangled path. It's this cycle of drafting and rethinking and revising and rediscovering what you're even trying to say in the first place. Revision isn't the last stop. It's your travel buddy for the entire journey. And Summers herself just nails it with this quote. The magic words here are changing intentions. See, skilled writers like Walter, they don't start with a perfect, fully formed idea. They start writing to find the idea. And as their intention gets clearer, they revise the writing to match that evolving goal. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do you actually use this stuff in your own work? Let's turn these big ideas into a practical toolkit that you can use to turn revision into your own personal superpower. All right, here's your new toolkit. 4 simple ideas. First, stop thinking of revision as just cleaning up typos. It's a thinking tool. It's where the real intellectual heavy lifting happens. Second, for every change you make, ask yourself why. Is this serving my purpose, or is it just a rule I'm following blindly? Third, be fearless. I mean it. If your main point changes, be willing to tear down the whole structure and build a new one. And last, maybe the most important thing, give yourself permission to not know what you want to say when you start. Write to discover it. So look, the next time you sit down with a draft and you feel that familiar dread creeping in, I want you to try reframing it with this one question. Don't ask, what's broken here? What needs to be fixed? Instead, ask yourself this: what meaning is hiding in here, just waiting to be discovered? Trust me, that one little shift in perspective, it can change everything.